Alex Pearce, last year was a tough year for yourself personally. You were in such great form, All-Australian talk, and then the arm injury happened. Can you talk us through a little bit about the first injury in June and the, I guess, how much you spent trying to get back in time for July?
Yeah, it was clearly a disappointing time for it to happen because things were going well and the team was going well, and particularly as captain, like you want to be out there and leading us to finals. So it was always like I had surgery straight away, and it's always the mindset of any sort of elite athlete. It's like, get me back as quick as possible, and we put a plan in place to tick a few things off, to train, to get enough time where we thought the bone would heal enough and I'd be safe to play. And that's how it went. I'm not sure how many games I missed in the end, maybe 3, but look, to be honest, I nearly played the game before I actually played, which in hindsight probably wouldn't have gone down very well. But like I had a couple of weeks where I was training and doing some contact and it felt strong. So leading into that game, I'm not even sure who you played when I broke it again. Melbourne, that's right. Yeah, leading into that Melbourne game, I was really confident, and like we knew there was some risks involved with playing, with the wound still not fully healed and some other things, but we thought the bone itself had healed enough and it'd be fine. And then, unfortunately, calculated wrong and you got injured again, and it was a bit freakish. We didn't expect it to happen like it did. Like it broke again from where my screws were. We went in the plate, so and then once again, then it's we go through that same mentality of, okay, what is there, like 4 or 5 rounds to go before finals, and it's just, okay, let's get back before finals, because at that stage, we were looking good, sitting inside the 8 comfortably, and that became the new plan. It's like a hard plastic cast that went over just to protect any sort of impact, because like I said, the wound was still not fully healed. So like if that opens up, then then I have to have surgery again to close it. It just starts to get a bit dangerous with infection. So that was what we were mainly worried about. Like, let's not open that wound up again, which didn't happen. So they're both pretty similar. I had a plate over my arm where the break was, with about, I'm not sure, quite a few screws, 10 or 12 in there. And then from one of those screws, obviously when a screw goes into the bone has to sort of heal around that screw, and whatever movement I did at the time, it sort of fractured from there and it broke a little bit worse. So then when we went back in again, it's a similar sort of thing. Just have to make sure the bone realigns and is all perfectly in line. And then another plate goes over, this time a bigger one, pretty much just the length of my forearm. And then we obviously, the plan was, if we made finals, that I was going to give it a crack and try and play, which would have been an extra, I think, 2 or 3 weeks rest in the last one. Actually spent, I think it was a month, going to a hospital using a hyperbaric chamber once a day to try and help with that healing and heal the wound and help with some bone healing. There's good evidence around that, so that became part of the preparation. And during that period as well, I'd be going out. I remember going out and training by myself, and I wasn't allowed to sweat at the time, because sweat can get into the wound and cause infection. So it was getting quite cold by that stage of the year, but we had a big fan out there and ice buckets, and I was out there training, and I'd train for 5 minutes and I'd come and just stand in the fan and get the ice buckets over me. Our women's team were training at the same time and laughing at me whilst it was all happening. I was down pretty much in my shorts and no top on, it's about 10 degrees, and just so I wouldn't sweat. And it was always going well. And again, there would have been risk if I would have played and if we would have made finals, I would have played. But in my mind, that was the plan, and I would have played and taken the risk again. But somewhat the only sort of silver lining about how our season finished and we ended up not making finals is I didn't go out there and break it again, which would have been a potential possibility.
You make it sound so easy. You're just running out there in 10 degrees. I know you're from Tasmania, but that still seems like such, just such an effort to get out there. Was there ever a point where you were considering giving the year away and just being like, you know what, I'm done, look at my arm?
No is the answer, but it is looking at it from like a bird's eye view of what happened. Like it seems like the smart thing to do, but I don't know. I mean, we're in this industry where we're out there to win premierships and win games of footy, and that's my job. And particularly as a captain, like I wanted to get out there and prove to my teammates that I would, put my body on the line and risk it for them and for the club. And again, like it was never, even when I played that first game, it was never like, I wasn't concerned in my mind that I was going to re-injure it. And I chatted with the surgeon and our docs, and we were really clear, and they were really clear that they didn't want to put me at risk. But yeah, like when I'm in that moment, the only thing was, okay, how can I contribute and how can I play? And there's always elements of risk. I've had plenty of injuries and I've had some re-injuries, and that's just part of it's part of what I sign up for, really, in my mind at least. Like it's this career isn't forever, and whilst I'm doing it, I'll take risks that you sort of don't expect of normal professions. It's just different.
How hard was it? You were sitting in third with a month to go. Like you were right up there. Freo were in a lot of the final talks, and to then watch what happened and how the season finished and missing finals. How hard was it sitting on the sidelines as captain?
Oh, it's devastating. Yeah, I've sat in the coach's box for most of the games. I flew to Melbourne a couple of times, or at least once. Particularly because a lot of those games were quite close and we were in it and gave ourselves a chance in pretty much every game. And you could just see how much like we wanted it, and it wasn't through a lack of effort or trying. It was just a few things. We were a bit untidy, particularly when it came into the last quarter. We didn't quite get it done in the big moments. But like I'm still like being so close and being around it. Like I'm just still so proud of how we went about it, and we spoke like a couple of weeks before the season when it was getting really tight, and it was like, look, let's just go all in and see what happens. Like it would be quite easy to make some excuses and give ourselves an out, but we wanted to really go all in and still believe that we could make finals, we could go deep, we could be there in that last Saturday. But yeah, it didn't, and it hurt like hell. That sort of days afterwards, we were all pretty gutted. But that's footy, that's sport, that's what happens, and you'd rather go all in, put your heart and soul on the line and believe, and then ultimately fall short than, only put half your chips in and not go all in. So I think the fact that we did that holds us in good stead for this year. The way that the boys have come into this pre-season, everyone's hungry. We feel like we're ready and that we're good enough to take that next step.